2.
Welcome to a new edition of the Ball In Podcast, where the ball is in our court. I'm Pavan Naganti, and I'm here with...
He's here with Eric Kikabin.
And he is also here with me, Sammy Hoyt.
Man, this dude, bro. I apologize for his theatrics, but let's just get right into it. The NBA playoffs continuing. We have Celtics, Sixers, Nuggets, Suns, and a lot of other great series to talk about. I'll start off with the Celtics Sixers, though. Harden putting on a masterclass. Embiid getting his MVP trophy in Game 3. A lot of great games in Philly. Eric, I do want to start with you, though. Just honestly, thoughts about the Celtics Sixers Game 3 and Game 4?
So, yeah, especially Game 4, prime example of box score doesn't tell the whole story. I mean, you look at that, and it looked like a balanced effort from the Celtics. You see their stat sheet, and it looks like they should have won. But obviously the Sixers came out of that with a 1-point win in overtime. Horford, let me say, even though I do act like I hate Al Horford sometimes,
You do.
He did a great job. He did a great job locking up Embiid, but it wasn't for the whole game. Unfortunately, he wasn't on the whole game, so Embiid still had 34 and 13.
Wide.
And then obviously that's accompanied with a Harden masterclass, and I mean you got to come out of there with a win. So I'll pass it to Sammy with any thoughts before we talk more about Harden probably.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
First, before I say anything, I would like to add, can we add the clip of Pavan before he thought he wasn't going to be able to come onto this episode about what he said about the Sixers, or is that going to be later?
Honestly, we could add that in,
Yeah,
or
for
I'll
sure.
just talk about it. I mean, I'll say...
Because I'd like you to elaborate. It's been what? It's been 4 days since that video? 3-4 days?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was during Game 3. That was literally
You
during
took the
Game
video when
3,
the
and
series.
with how concerning
Mhm.
Game 3 was, I feel like that was a pretty bold prediction too. Obviously, in hindsight now, you can be
okay.
like, "Oh, Pavon, that was such a lame prediction." But during
No.
Game
I'll
3,
throw in so Pavon wasn't gonna make this episode originally. I'll throw in the clip right here for you, but yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I put my 2 cents into this. You guys see this? The Philly-Boston prediction will be happening. And I'll tell you what. Philly's going to the finals. Philadelphia 76ers will be in the NBA Finals this year. You can book it. All right? I had Milwaukee. Milwaukee didn't really pan out. Injuries happen. Tell you what, Philly's going to the finals. We'll get Philly and the Lakers in the finals. Come back to me when it happens. Love y'all.
Man, what a great clip that was.
Dude,
Bye. Clip.
Sammy, get your thoughts in, dude.
I don't really have any that differ from Eric at all. I mean, James Harden has been playing at a seemingly Rockets James Harden level. Embiid coming back too. I think even with Embiid coming back, I still think this is going to be a really back and forth series. Like Eric said, the box score didn't really tell the whole story in Game 4. I have the Celtics. I have the Celtics going to the finals. I am very tempted to say Sixers and 7 after seeing the first 4 games of this series, but I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. You guys saw the clip, obviously. I had Philly going to the championship. Philly Lakers in the finals. Obviously, I had the Bucks first and foremost. The Heat upset happened. Jimmy Butler happened. But I have the Sixers because Harden is playing at a level that I've never seen him play. I feel like he's being as good of a distributor. I've never seen him this efficient, by the way. His Game 4 stats were mind-blowing to me. The eye test matched the stats in the box score. 16 of 23, 42, 8, and 9, only 1 turnover. Didn't get much help from Embiid, Maxey. Role players didn't do much scoring. And especially coming off of Game 3 where not only did he look bad shot selection-wise, he looked very indecisive. He looked very lost on the court. And I feel like he was really fighting his way in terms of trying to be that playmaker and also at the same time trying to be a scorer. And then we just saw him do it all in Game 4, in a do-or-die Game 4, in a must-win Game 4. So it was really impressive to me, the timing of the shots that he made, especially with the OT shot, the floater that he hit at the end of the fourth quarter. But yeah, just doing it throughout the entirety of the game. especially in a game that they really, really needed. Because once you go down 3-1, I feel like the series should be over when you're playing a good team. So yeah, like I was very impressed with Harden's performance, and I feel like that's going to be the key in terms of them winning this series or even the next series. I'm still sticking with Philly to go all the way to the championship. I do have them losing to the Lakers. But yeah, I do have them going to the championship, and it's hugely because of Harden and Embiid's play.
If you remember my original prediction, I also had Sixers making
Yes,
the
yes, you
did.
finals.
did.
So
And
You
I was
did.
very surprised at the time because
Vaughn was shocked.
I was very shocked because I didn't expect much out of Harden and Embiid. And especially with Embiid getting hurt, you just think it'd be the same story again, where Embiid's hurt, especially the timing of the injury right after they get a first round sweep. Embiid's hurt again. They're not going to get that conference finals berth, but they're really in a prime chance right now, especially with the way Harden is playing and Embiid really going ahead and securing that MVP. I think those two really have a prime chance to finish the series out. So yeah, it's really not looking like a bad prediction right now, Eric. And obviously, I agree with you. So
yeah, and I mean, I had it for different reasoning at first. I won't lie. Like, I didn't expect this from Harden
yeah,
either. I said it was Embiid's year, Embiid's season to finally prove himself, and he's been playing great. But yeah, none of this would be happening without the presence of Harden, obviously. So,
yes, yes.
James.
Um, I did want to talk about this though. Joel Embiid did win the MVP. We did talk about this. Um, the last five MVPs, respectively, Jokic, Giannis, Harden, Westbrook, and Curry.
Last 5 winners.
Yeah, and
Like, yeah.
and I honestly wanted to get to you, Eric, about this. Where does Embiid really rank among that list or group of MVP winners?
See, this was very tough for me because I don't want to sound like I'm discrediting Embiid, but I might have to put him last in that group. Again, I'm not trying to discredit him, but I mean, let's go down the list. Curry, unanimous. I mean, back to back, one of them being unanimous. I think that's very fair. Westbrook, historical statistical season. In my opinion, Westbrook's the only one that's maybe debatable because of historical statistical season. That's hard to beat. The only factor that he might get beat out on is because that OKC team was only a 6 seed. That's debatable. That's up in the air.
Show me how many
Who's
games you
after
can win
that?
with Victor
Harden.
Oladipo.
Exactly, right. Like it's like I feel like that's pretty irrelevant, but that argument's
Yes.
there. Next is Harden. Harden's another one he might beat out because I actually just remembered his MVP season. That wasn't the one where he averaged like 35. That was the next season, wasn't it?
Yeah, because Russell and Harden. If any other normal year, I think Harden would have won it. It really just came down to Russ breaking the triple-double record and doing something that was very historical, just like a historical feat. But yeah,
Oh no, I mean the one where Harden averaged 35 was like 2019, like the
the
year
year
after
after?
Harden won it, wasn't it?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
can
thought
go
so.
back and
Giannis won it?
check. I thought his stats were better the year
When
before than the year after.
No.
Oh, I thought it was the year after. Well, anyway, regardless, it wasn't the his MVP season. So maybe Harden's the guy that Embiid beats out. But then Giannis back to back, he had a defensive player of the year in there as well. That's hard to beat. And then Jokic with the historical stats and the historical team offense. And if anything, I think this year was low key the year that Jokic deserved MVP out of any of the past 3 years. But hey, I still think Jokic beats out. So Embiid, with all due respect, is last or maybe second to last in front of Harden. That's going to be my final take, I think.
I had a similar. I had Harden last. I had Embiid fourth out of the 5, or out of the 6, because it was the last 5, and not including Embiid. So I would have Harden at 6, Embiid at 5 because of the reasons you said. I would put. This one's tough. I mean, probably. I don't know. I don't want to say Russ because he was so good, but I'd go Russ at 4. What is it, 4?
Yeah.
And it's just so hard because they're different positions too. Like you can't. It's so hard to evaluate, like compare two guys at completely different positions on the court. Um, but I'd put Giannis at three, Jokic at two, and Curry. In my opinion, it was just like that stretch that he had in the from 2015 to even after he won the MVPs, to like 2018, 2019 was like unmatched. I don't think it'll ever be done again. Um, he's my easy number one in my opinion, and I think Jokic. I've said that Jokic should win the MVP over Joel Embiid this year. And obviously, Jokic now is not too different than the Jokic that won the MVP last season. So I still stand by that.
Um, yeah, this is tough for me because, like Semi made a very good point. It's hard to compare guards and centers. Like that's yeah, like guards, forwards. Like you never really want to compare between positions, but we do it with all-time debates, and obviously we have to do it here with the MVP winners. But I'd honestly put Westbrook last, Harden second to last because that wasn't his best year. Because like the thing to me is Embiid is arguably a top five player, and it's hard to put a guard top five. Steph Curry is the only guy to me where I can actually make a definitive argument that he's top five. Now, um, I mean, Steph is arguably in the conversation for best player in the league even right now. And he's probably one of the few guards you can actually say that for. He's just very much an anomaly. But yeah, like Russ, I can
One of the
never
best.
really go like he's potentially a top five guy. Whereas I can say that for Embiid. I can say that for Jokic. I can say that for Giannis. I don't really know if I can say it for a guard. I wouldn't be saying that for Harden or Russ. And so for that reasons, I'd probably go Curry, Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, and then you can have Russ and James at the bottom.
Even with what Russ did in his MVP season, with averaging triple double, breaking the record, like all those things, like all that, you would still
I
not say
would
that he's
still probably put him last. Because what are we talking about then? Are we talking more so about performance or actually the level of player that they really are?
okay.
So,
That's fair.
because the MVP is a regular season award. So if you want to put regular season performance on there, then Russ is going to be a lot higher, right? But if we want to just talk about the level of player they are and how good relatively they were compared to the best players in the league, then I'm going to put Embiid higher on that list because I'm never going to put Russ and Harden in those conversations that Embiid is in terms of being a top five player in the league. So there's multiple ways you can really go about arguing this. You want to go your regular season performances and how they actually were stats wise and performance wise and narrative wise in their MVP race, or how they actually are relatively as a player compared to the best in the league. So yeah.
I mean, that's a very interesting argument because, like, I don't completely disagree with you because, like I said, if there's any two guys that are below Embiid, it's Russ and Harden also for me. But were Russ and Harden in their respective MVP seasons not top five players in the league in your
They
eyes?
were not. They were not. They were
Really
not. No.
interesting. Like, I'm trying to think back. Like, LeBron, KD, Curry, like in Harden's MVP season.
Kawhi?
Like, Kawhi and, like, Harden wouldn't round out that five?
Probably not. Probably
Oh,
not.
okay.
I'd have to go back and think about it, but um especially I mean
Was that before? Was that
For
before
me
Giannis?
AD was a top five player then. Like we're talking New
Yeah,
Orleans AD.
Giannis, that's true.
Um AD was a top five player for me. Yeah, AD was always like
That's fair.
AD was always top five for me, and bias wise, I would always argue him like even as high as three because the things he could do on both sides of the floor, and especially I'm pretty sure the year Harden won MVP was the year they had Boogie Cousins, and when Boogie went down, the Pelicans really had a shot of missing the playoffs, and AD went on, I mean, a stretch, just a tear where he was offensively like I've never seen him before. So and he had a good playoff run too. It just sucked that they ran into the Warriors. You can say that for a lot of teams, but when AD is really playing the Warriors by himself, because people forget the Dame Blazers were the three seed that year, and that was the year that Nurkic, Dame, CJ, and the squad was actually healthy. and people were really eyeing for Dame and them to possibly make a run, and then they get swept by AD, playoff Rondo, and Drew in the first round. So that really goes to show how good AD really was that year. So AD would probably round out that five for me, Eric.
That's fair. I had to
Quick flashback.
wind back the
Yes.
clock. Yeah,
Yes.
that's fair enough.
Pre-COVID times.
Pre-go. Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I will say, if Boogie Cousins was healthy, I think that team's going to the conference finals. I don't know.
It's obvious what's being done.
I
right
don't
now.
know if I don't know if people are matching up with those two bigs. That's tough. That's tough to match up
It's on a
with.
nightly basis. I hope the world can see now what's really going on.
Because it's getting ridiculous.
You done?
Yeah, the quote's
Quote's
over.
good.
That was
Quote's
the end of the
good.
quote. That was the end of the quote.
You know the funniest part about that clip too? Boogie
What's
went
that?
back to the locker room, and then they brought him back out again of the
What?
game. Yeah, like go back and watch the clip.
Was that not a post
They
game?
no, that was post game. But like actually the game, they rescinded his technical and let him come back in the game.
Oh, okay.
That's what
okay.
makes that whole
Oh,
game
really?
so that's why he was so mad. Because it's like
'Cause it's getting
they called a
ridiculous.
technical, they rescind the technical, so he doesn't get
Yeah.
ejected. He comes back, he plays, he cooks Plumlee, and then he goes ahead and wins the game, and then you get a post game bid out of him. That's all time. That's it's for the
That's
80s.
true. It was obvious. It was obvious what was being done out
It
there.
was really getting ridiculous.
And at that time, it was on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
It was getting ridiculous. I couldn't have said it better
Oh
myself.
my goodness. Uh, um, let's switch topics real quick though. Talking about another great center, Nikola Jokic and his Denver Nuggets against the Phoenix Suns in what is really showing up to be, in my opinion, the best series in this playoffs, and it's really not close. The level of basketball, especially offensively, that is being shown by both teams is just on a ridiculous level. The stars have shown up: Murray, Jokic, Booker, KD. KD finally had an efficient game in Game 4 as well. But Eric, honestly, just thoughts on Jokic, the stars showing up, and just predictions and what you think is going to happen moving forward.
Dude, thoughts are just overwhelming about this series right now.
Oh,
man.
I get it.
Like I don't even know where to start. Do I start with the Booker KD duo combining for 86 in Game 3, which y'all know I almost predicted the exact. Oh my God, I had my one-way ticket. To
Hey,
Vegas.
someone give the context for what he's talking about.
Okay, so I texted I was making bets with this person across the hall from me. And I said this is gonna be
Eric doesn't gamble,
so, like,
guys.
we're doing
Eric
the
doesn't
prop
gamble,
bets.
guys. This is predictions.
He's got MJ level gambling addiction.
Only on occasion, brother. And so we did the
Amazing.
prop bets, but then I added my bold take that it would be a historic, like I'm trying to remember my exact wording, historic duo performance from Booker and KD with 45 and 39 respectively. It was gonna be that if Booker didn't get goddamn fouled with 6 seconds left. They're already up like 5 or 7. No need for that foul, man. And he just added those 2 points for 47. I'm so mad. But whatever, man. And then, yeah, so 86 in Game 3, and then they combined for 72 again in Game 4 with 36 each. Do I start with that? Do I start with Booker shooting 79% on average in Games 3 and 4? Do I start with KD low-key being a brick, at least in the first half of Game 3, but he still found his way to the line. He still found his way to 39 points.
16 free throws.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
he
Okay,
found his
we
way
got
to
the
the
free
line.
throw talk.
He found his way to the line.
Put it
I
out there.
guess.
Don't want to be Ishan.
Or how we beat them in Game 4, even with a 53-point performance from Jokic, and Ayton still not showing up. I actually don't know how we won that game personally. Thank you, Landry Shamet, I guess. It's been a great series, historic. Landry Shamet.
Put the bucket.
Durant.
All right, sorry. There goes Kyrie. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna mention Book and Durant, I was combining what they have. Durant having, like Pavon said, a very efficient game 4. Such a fun series. It's just awesome. I think this is exactly what the league wanted when they saw this series on the in the playoff bracket. But I mean, this is something I kind of want to ask both of you because I see Durant, I see Book putting up 30 plus, 35 plus for the last 2 games. Do you think this could potentially be just a product of the Suns' lack of depth in their squad right now? Because they're really like they both played 40 plus minutes each of the last 2 games.
Eric, you can go ahead.
I think that's honestly like it's an honest point, and I think there's some truth to that. And I think this is a similar point. And I think it was actually Kendrick Perkins who said it, but like I low key like unironically agree that
Carry the hell on.
I think it was Perkins said that like this is a product of Chris Paul not being there because then now the pace is a lot faster than if he was.
Okay, here's my thing with that too, though. KP also went on to say Booker was arguably a young Kobe, and if people didn't agree with that, they didn't watch basketball. Like I don't understand like where he goes with the stuff. Like
He will say like a very like knowledgeable take, and then he'll follow up with, "Landry Shamet is the best basketball player of all time."
yeah,
Carry the hell
Yeah.
on.
Carry the hell on.
I don't understand KP sometimes.
Dude, I can't either. Like, I thought we dropped the Booker Kobe talk. Like, why does he have to? Why does
He's
he have
being
to bring it
legendary.
back?
Sorry.
The moment
but I think-
Booker says that again is the moment we lose. So
I got you today.
I'll get my sense on this. Honestly, Sammy, to me, right? He's been the best player the past 2 years, right? I know Chris Paul's been great, but in terms of attracting gravity, it's been Booker. He's been scoring at will. You know, I'm pretty sure like here, I'm gonna look back, but his first playoff run, he set the record for most points in the first postseason, and the Suns went to the finals. They were literally the favorite in the finals too. I think people really forget that. They want to cleanly forget that. But because of the Giannis injury, they were favored to win that series. And so you want to talk about a player coming in the postseason and from the jump just being great, right? So Booker's been great in terms of scoring the ball his whole career. He does it in winning moments because they went to the finals. He does it in a regular season fashion. They were the 1 seed last year. To me, it's the gravity of KD. Not really coming to the depth, but the gravity that KD draws. He's like LeBron in terms of, you have to really game plan as a team in terms of guarding KD. Because the thing with guys like KD and Book especially is they use the entire floor. They're gonna hit you from the left corner. They're gonna hit you from the right corner. They're gonna hit you from the top of the key. They're gonna hit you from the wings. They're gonna hit you from mid range. They're gonna hit you from 3. They can drive to the hoop. They're really good free throw shooters, elite free throw shooters. So when you have 2 guys that really use the entire floor, right? Especially with Book's run right now, he's shooting above league average at almost every spot besides the right corner midi. And the only reason he's shooting low from the right corner midi, he's taking 3 shots from there. Besides that, he's shooting above league average from almost every single spot on the floor. The fact that he can use the entire floor, and he's pretty much playing off of a trap on KD or single coverage every single time just makes it ridiculous. I don't think it's a lack of depth. It's more so the gravity that KD draws and Booker just being an elite level scorer that we're going to really have to have some tough conversations about it, man. Me being a hater of the way he really goes about his business in terms of trash talking and just talking at the end of games, it's going to be tough for me. But we're going to have some really tough conversations if you keep this up, and especially if the Suns make that finals run like people are saying they're going to. So to put it short, it's really gonna be that.
we are going to start. A dialogue.
We are going to start a dialogue. Eric, you're gonna have to like put that like front and center. Just like put it over me, honestly. I don't think the phone does the justice, honestly.
It doesn't. I just wanted to.
But yeah, my bad if I went on a monologue, but like that's
No.
that really is what it
totally makes
is.
sense.
It's the gravity of KD, and those two guys really just scoring from everywhere on the floor, not just certain spots on the floor.
True.
But yeah.
Fair. No, that's fair. Are we gonna also glaze over Jokic's 53 in Game 4? Is that just
Oh
like
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah. Do you have any other
in the
thoughts on the
loss as
game,
well?
or
No, I mostly just had that point that I
that
wanted to
question?
get off, but
Yeah. I'll talk about Joker actually. I'm gonna say this flat out. Just say Nikola Jokic has been the best player in the postseason. Um, and I know a lot of people are gonna say Jimmy Butler, especially with the 8 seed upset. Um,
I saw it on
the
Twitter.
single game performances, but Jokic to me has been the best player in the playoffs. I know they quickly went over Minnesota. They're favored in both series. Actually, I don't think they were favored in this series, if I'm correct. The Suns were the favorite in this series, right? Or was it, am I wrong
Were
about
they?
that?
I don't know if they're favored the whole
I
series. I
thought
mean,
the
the Suns were favored at
Nuggets were.
home for these past 2 games. I don't know about
Whole
the whole
series? I don't
series
know.
since they're the one
I know the
seed.
Suns. I
I'd
know
be
the
kind of
Suns were the
surprised.
betting favorite to make it to the final anyway. Um, a lot of people slept on the
Yeah.
Nuggets, especially with their bad ending to the regular season. But no, Nikola Jokic has been the best player in basketball to me. The fact that he's scoring at will, every shot looks easy, by the way, which is ridiculous to me. He won't get the credit he deserves because the way he plays is unorthodox too. Like people really forget that. Like he really plays in a way that like people don't really appreciate it in a sense because it's not flashy, it's not athletic, but the production doesn't lie. The eye test doesn't lie. Bro is out there babying everyone, and then he'll give you like 11 dimes, and then he'll out rebound you too. The fact that a more
Especially if you're
athletic DeAndre
dominating.
Ayton is getting severely out rebounded by Nikola Jokic, who is also passing the ball, scoring the ball, and setting up his whole entire offense is ridiculous to me. And he puts it
Exactly.
all together in every single game. People won't give him the credit he deserves. But yeah, also the thing with me too, the fact that Monty Williams goes ahead and inserts Ross, Warren, and Shamit instead of Craig, Okogie, and even a little bit Ish Wainwright, the fact that those three guys are outplaying Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon, um, Michael Porter Jr., and Contavious Caldwell Pope, that's unreal to me. That's inexcusable. No way you waste a 53 point performance on the road from Nikola Jokic and a good game from Jamal Murray because KCP, Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon, and the other role players just literally get outplayed by Shamit, Ross, and Warren. Like that's unbelievable to me. That like I know we're gonna talk about Booker, the all-time heater that he's on, KD finally having an efficient game, but yeah, like you role players cannot be getting outplayed, especially if you're the 1 seed and you've done it all year. This is the time of the year where you got to show up, even if you're the role players, especially if you're gonna make that championship run.
The lights were too bright.
Oh, the lights were brighter than expected.
Jared
You can put
Allen.
that one in the middle too. Lights were brighter than expected. Another thing I did want to mention too, not that
We're giving Eric
I
a
feel
lot of
like I've been
work.
talking a lot, but
I know. So many
Sammy,
edits.
I did want to talk about the free throws you were talking about. Kevin
Yeah.
Durant hasn't been efficient. So what does he do from the second
I
half of
wasn't
game three? No.
to be
I'm just
hold
gonna
on, to be
like just quickly talk about it
okay.
though. He's been in attack mode. Like I was talking with
And I was gonna say that.
yeah, like because it's not like he's out there. KD isn't known to be a
No,
flopper, right? Like I know you're not gonna say that. You're not one of those people, but like let's get this clear. KD isn't a flopper. A lot of the times when he gets fouled, it's because of his length. You look at the guys that he's getting guarded by, right? I feel like people don't really talk about the Denver Nuggets don't really match up defensively with KD. Not that many in the league do, but KD's
I was gonna
being
say.
guarded by a slower Gordon, an undersized Bruce Brown, an older Jeff Green. You're talking about the guys that he's being guarded by. They're going to be messed up by his length. When he's going around dribbling the ball like a guard and then shooting jumpers, they're going to foul. Like, especially when he plays in attack mode. When he's playing in attack mode and playing downhill, which he did from the second half of game three, he's going to get fouled because of his length. Not because he's the strongest guy or the tallest guy, but like his length with the arms, he covers so much ground. And especially when he tries to shoot, it's going to be difficult to try and not foul. So I feel like that's something people really need to get out of their heads in terms of looking at free throws and then being like, oh, he was a free throw merchant. Oh, he was flopping all over the place. No, you really have to watch the games to see stuff like that.
And I wasn't gonna use that as a point to discredit him at all. I
Yeah,
was just gonna talk about, like you said, his aggressiveness and how aggressive he's been in these few games because of his play style. I obviously know that Durant's not gonna go out looking to draw fouls or stuff like that. He is just playing. I just think it is worth noting when a guy goes what I don't know. What did he go game 3? Hold on, I gotta get back. Sorry. Whatever he went,
He did have a lot
it
of
wasn't
free
super
throws.
efficient.
Yeah.
Wasn't super efficient, but like at 16 free throws, he's getting to the line that often. That's got to be a testament to him in some way. Staying aggressive, even though he went 12 for 31 from the field in game 3. It is worth noting though for sure. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely agree with that.
It is, yeah. Like you kind of touched on this, but like when you're a player like KD who doesn't do it all the time, being able to draw those fouls when you're in a position where you're not scoring
It's huge.
is a legitimate skill.
Yes. Yes, it is. People don't really credit enough. Don't give credit enough in terms of drawing free throws anymore because it's so common now. But stars are going to draw free throws. They're going to get superstar level calls. That is a thing in the NBA, whether you like it or not.
Of course it is.
Superstars do get calls that normal role players or guys that are not going to
Like
get.
Shamet.
Shamit's not getting 16 free throws. Let's make that very clear.
What he is getting? You know what he is getting? The bucket.
He'll drop 12 in he'll drop 12 in the fourth quarter. He'll get 4 buckets that matter. I go crazy. Let's move on to low-key, not a disappointing series. It's been a great series. It's just the other 3 series have been so good and have more marquee stars that this series is really not going to be that great. Knicks Heat.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
No. No. Yeah. We.
I could dream. I could
Yeah,
hope. Just let me just
cut
go on.
that.
Let me just.
Yeah, let's talk about the Knicks Heat though.
Yeah, of course.
Heat go up 3-1. I did just get the game update by Eric. Heat do go up 3-1. Really outplayed the Knicks at home in both these games. Eric and Sammy Eric, I'll start with you. Thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really have much thoughts on this series, to be completely honest. I haven't been able to catch any of these games in their entirety. But I do want to say, we talked about role players with Nuggets Suns and how a select few on the Suns are really showing up compared to the Nuggets role players disappearing. It seems like the role players in this series have been even more crucial, seemingly, than normal. Other than my man Gabe Vincent for the Heat.
Stop. There's no reason you need to be defending this man. There's no reason. There's no reason you need to be defending him. He's bad.
Dude, no, he's like
Get off the whiteboard, Pavon.
The
We're not.
potential is there.
What? Where?
We're just gonna talk like he's not writing.
It's falling.
Yeah. Other than Gabe Vincent, the Heat's role players have been showing up, shooting well. What is he right?
You just can't see that.
Bum. Come on.
Why is this camera moving?
It's a ghost. When will I become a ghost?
Someday.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah. I
No,
don't
really,
know.
Eric. What is your infatuation in appreciating Gabe Vincent? Because what does he do to be appreciated?
I don't know. He made a lot of shots like that one game I watched. I don't even remember what it was, and that's about it.
He broke Tyler Hero. He didn't break Tyler Hero's hand, but he hurt his hand more.
Dude, nah. Even dude, what? Like
What?
Okay, let's just get this clear, right? Gabe Vincent missed every single jumper in game 3, and then his first made shot was on a layup, bro. I would literally watch this man miss jumper after jumper thinking he was Steph Curry. And this dude watches one
He is.
game of Gabe Vincent and goes ahead and thinks he's like the best role player for the Heat. I can't just let that slide. I can't just go ahead and let this man get Gabe Vincent some love as if he's been playing
when the Heat
great
make the finals
basketball.
and win the
He's
finals,
not.
and Gabe Vincent wins Finals MVP, come talk to me.
Is this the new Jay Crowder?
Yes.
Is this like Luke
if you're
saying?
watching.
I hope Luke is watching. If Luke, if you're watching, hi.
Comment Gabe Vincent down below.
Yeah, but I was gonna mention, and Pavon sent this to us last night. The bench from the Heat is kind of like good. I just realized I was holding the microphone away from my face when I was saying that. But the bench scoring for the Heat has really been an impressive sight to see this series. Lowry, 15 points, 4 of 6, very efficient. What are you doing? Is it wrong?
No, you're great. I still can't get over the fact that this man is glazing over Gabe Vincent.
G word.
Gabe?
Yeah.
I was so scared. I was watching. I was saying my stuff, and Pavon was like, and I'm like, what am I
No,
doing
no,
wrong?
no.
But he's just
You're
stuck
completely
on
on
Gabe
point.
Vincent.
You're completely on point.
Yeah. Well, go on then.
No,
Pavon. Go
no,
on. Get your 2 cents on
my
this.
bad for ruining your
No, you're
soliloquy,
good. You're
but
good. You're good.
I'll go ahead and say this. Like Sammy said, the bench production has been good for the Heat. Role players overall have shown up for the Heat, and role players for the Knicks haven't
Except
showed up,
Gabe.
which is crazy to me. Maybe it's also because the Heat have been on their own floor, which helps. But um, the bench production has stayed consistent. 3-point shooting has stayed relatively consistent in a sense. Like they're not shooting as bad as they were in the regular season. But yeah, like the spacing that they have on the floor now, especially with them showing that they can hit the threes, like their paint production is going up, and like that's just across the board. I'm not saying for like a Bam or Butler, but even like Strus in Game 3 was making a lot of layups and drives to the rim that you're like, wow, the paint production is really opening up for the Heat. So it's really just going to come down to them playing really good level of basketball and continuing their bench production, but they're going to close out this series. I don't see the Heat not closing out this series. Maybe the Knicks will win Game 5 back at the Garden, put up a fight, but yeah, this should be over in 6. I don't see Jimmy Butler making this go farther than 6. So I'm assuming you guys will think the same.
I
agree.
completely agree 100%. They win 5 in the Garden, close it out at home in Miami.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it is a point though to give some love to Jalen Brunson because he is really trying his hardest to carry this team.
Yeah, it really
Because
sucks.
he's played so
It's
well.
the
He's been playing so well.
it sucks, but that's really how playoff games go. It really comes down to the role players showing up too. I know people really want to talk about superstars have to show up. Yeah, you're right. Superstars do have to show up, but in terms of
I
competing
wouldn't
against
call
very
Brunson
good
super.
teams, oh well, stars. Yeah, I
Okay. No,
agree.
yeah,
Brunson
I
isn't
get
a
what you mean.
superstar. I agree, but like
No.
in the playoff, stars show up, and but when you're playing good teams, especially a good, experienced, disciplined team in the Miami Heat against a very well coached Eric Spoelstra and how he runs things over there with Miami, I mean, Miami Heat culture is synonymous with anyone that watches basketball. So it really does come down to
White
role
hot.
players showing up. So yeah, that's really how it goes, though. Superstars being let down by role players, that's typically how that goes. I did want to talk about the last and final semifinal series. A great game going on right now. I do not know the score
It
whatsoever.
it literally just went to halftime. It is 52-49 Golden State ahead.
Oh, interesting. In a do or die, pretty
Yes.
much, I feel like for Golden State, because you go down
Feels like it.
3-1,
Feels
that's
like it for
tough.
sure.
Um, but yeah, Warriors, Lakers, obviously the name brand, Steph and LeBron, AD, every other game, Davis. But yeah, it's just it's
Literally.
it's a great series. Both teams really making adjustments, especially with Kevon Looney being sick. We saw Jermichael Green start in game 2. The Lakers are up
Sick.
2-1, and like we said, it's halftime of game 4. But yeah, Eric, I'll start with you. Just thoughts on this series? Anything that's really stood out to you? Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, the every other game stuff from AD is like absolutely insane. I don't understand it. I saw something online that's like I've never seen anyone as consistently inconsistent as AD, and that's the most true thing I've ever heard.
Can I add? Can I add something really quick before you go on with that
Yeah,
point? Because
yeah.
currently, AD's got 19, 6, and 2, 8 for 12 from the field at halftime
Ooh, in an even numbered game.
in an
Oh,
even numbered game. Correct.
I'll tell
Sorry.
you
That's
guys this,
crazy.
by the way. I'll let you go on, Eric. I do not believe the other
Yeah.
game stuff. I think the box score watchers will tell you that AD has been playing well every other game, but I I could really go on and talk about how AD has been good in almost every he's put up bad games. I can agree with you guys on that, especially game two. But if I really went into it, I don't really think the other game thing is really true, to be completely honest with you.
That's very fair. That's very fair. There's an argument for impact, but the stats are funny in
Yes,
specifically odd number
yes,
and even
yes.
number
I get what
games.
you mean.
Um, but anyway, um, other than that slight flaw, I think it's finally time for what LeBron himself said 3 years ago, that this is AD's team, and it's obviously noteworthy that LeBron is only averaging 22, 10, and 5 in this playoffs, and his team's succeeding. They won by 30 in Game 3, and so this is such a good team around LeBron, AD, D'Lo, and I mean, yeah, I think if you want my prediction for this series, updated prediction. I don't remember, what did I say? I
You
said
said
Warriors
Warriors
in
in
six.
6.
I did. That's gonna be wrong.
Oh, okay.
I'm just straight up. That's gonna
That's
be
fair.
wrong.
Well, they'll have to win 3 straight if to be correct. So I can, yeah.
Yeah. So probably Lakers in 6.
Interesting.
I'll go with that.
Okay. I think I had Lakers in 7. It might have been 6, but I'm pretty sure it was 7. I'm gonna stick with that prediction.
I was the same.
And I was gonna make this point because I don't know. You can fact check me if I'm wrong or if I'm not terribly accurate, but this could be one of the best like casts LeBron has had in the playoffs in terms of like role players that have been he's been surrounded by. Because like you said, Pavon as mentioned Rui a lot. I love Rui. I think Jared Vanderbilt. I'm a big fan of Jared Vanderbilt and how he plays. His defense. He's super good. Anthony Davis. He's not a role player. D'Angelo Russell. I don't know if you classify him as a role player, but he's had some games where he's taken over, and kind of been the spark plug to this Lakers team, if you will. And AR-15, guy I love to hate for no reason. He's been playing really well in these playoffs as well. So I think it's just something to note that, and also, and I don't know if Pawan will touch on this or not at all, but Lonnie Walker getting minutes in the last couple of games in this series is
Yes.
very interesting to
Yes.
me. I love it personally, but I think it's just very interesting the way Darvin switched to giving Lonnie minutes instead of who was it? Or no, he just gave him minutes.
He's got hands in my pocket ham.
Oh, he's got Darvin.
Hands in
Yeah,
my
he's got.
pocket ham. No.
Oh yeah, and Darvin's son Dennis Schroeder as well. He's been playing pretty okay.
I can't. That man's hands do not leave his pockets. I don't know if I'm assuming. I know the Lakers fans pay attention, but you look, his hands do not leave his pockets. It's so funny to me. I don't. His hands have to be really warm, man. I mean, just, he's got to have like sweaty hands at halftime every single time. Like, there's no way. There's no way. Um,
You just did
My
all that
shorts,
not to have
my
pockets.
shorts don't have pockets.
so
I'm so
lame.
sorry.
But you
I'm
you
so
guys get
sorry.
you guys get my
Continue.
point. I'll touch with what Sammy said though. The thing with the role players that's interesting to me, right? You look at Miami. He had D Wade, Bosh, and the rest of the role players are guys that are feeding off of the gravity of Wade and LeBron. The shooters, the centers, a lot of the guys that are catch and shoot guys that are feeding off of Wade and LeBron's gravity and their creation of shooting. And same thing with Cleveland, especially the earlier Cleveland teams prior to going to Miami. All guys that are relative role players that are feeding off of LeBron's creation and his playmaking ability. Same thing when he came back to Cleveland. He had Kyrie, but you look at all those other guys, I mean, there aren't that many players on that team that were creating their own shot. They are also feeding off of the gravity of LeBron. The thing with this Lakers team that's interesting to me is you got
James
that
Jones.
do-it-all scoring type point guard in D'Lo. You got Reeves, who is initiating offense in closing moments and just throughout the game. So you got to understand at what level he's playing at for them to initiate offense while LeBron, AD, and Russell are on the floor. Then you got Rui, who's a three-level scorer that's coming off the bench. And then Anthony
Respect, by
Davis,
the
who
way.
works as a big man, which LeBron has never had a do-it-all big man in his career. And I'll go ahead and say this. I think AD is the best teammate that LeBron has had. even without that second championship. I'll go ahead and say it. You want to talk about pure basketball fits? I think AD is the best basketball fit alongside LeBron James, especially at this stage of his career. Um, but yeah, like I think to me, it's more so about LeBron is off the ball more so than ever in his career. And LeBron being off the ball at this stage of his career is very helpful, but at the same time, that's really dangerous. The fact that LeBron is feeding off of the gravity of AD, Russell, Reeves, and Rui in shot creation is very difficult. Very difficult. It's very difficult to match up with. What was I looking at?
Who was that?
Timothy
It's Timothy
Mozgov?
Mozgov, the best big man LeBron's ever played with.
Oh,
What was
see,
it? What
no,
was his
you made
stat
that
line?
face. You made that face when Pavon said "do it all big." I swear you were gonna say Big Z. I did not expect Timothy.
I was not
Mozgov,
going
though.
to say
That's crazy.
Zildjiunas Ilgauskas. I was going to say Timothy Mozgov, but I decided
That's
to
a
be quiet and let him
crazy
No
talk.
love to Joel.
Yeah, good.
No love to Anderson Varejao.
Anderson Varejao.
Thompson.
No, that's
No,
not even
Tristan
joking. You
Kardashian,
can't
even as a
joke about
joke,
that.
isn't funny.
No.
Nah,
And he's on the team
yeah,
now.
he's
so
literally a
it's really-
cheerleader for them. Like,
Oh yeah, wait, he is.
literally
He's a veteran. He's a experienced vet
veteran
on
with
the
veteran
bench.
with champion.
He got his wish.
Veteran with
He brought the
championship
squad back
experience.
together.
Except the Kyrie's not there though,
Well,
so the squad isn't. Kevin Love also not really. Do you see Kevin Love and Jimmy Butler like wipe the floor after Obi stepped out of bounds?
Oh my God!
No?
I thought
Okay.
you said OB, and I was like, my mind just went a completely different
No.
direction.
My
No, I was
bad.
like, I was like, what? It's like OB plays for the New York Knicks.
What?
I was like, what?
What?
I wouldn't be
No.
surprised. I would not be
OB plays for
surprised.
the Miami Heat. OB plays NBA basketball.
I would not be surprised, honestly.
I am so sorry.
The more you know.
You can cut that out. It's just a very random
Oh.
thought that I saw on Twitter yesterday.
No,
For today.
that's staying in, so you're
All
done.
right.
Because
Oh, nice.
Oh, but I want to get quick thoughts on this. Very quick. I'll list my top five playoff performers. You guys can talk about it real quick. I have Jokic, Butler, Booker, KD, AD. Would you guys agree with that? Like, what do you guys really think about the playoff performers and who's really at the top of the list for you guys?
That's a solid list for sure. I'd have to think about it. I mean, I think I'd agree for the most part. I think there's some flexibility to put Steph in there, maybe over KD.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
AD?
that's fair.
I mean, a 50-point game in Game 7 is hard
Yes.
to beat.
It very much is.
But Jokic, Butler, and Booker, I agree with for sure, top three. And I think in that order too. Maybe Booker above Butler. That's so hard because the Heat are an 8 seed.
That's really difficult too.
But Booker's like historic shooting percentages, so I don't know. But then yeah, maybe Steph and AD.
You're not gonna give any love to Harden in the playoffs?
Yeah. This year,
Just
really.
don't know
I
the
don't know
name
if
out
he's
there.
top 5. I'm giving him love, but I don't know if he's
I'm
top
just trying to throw names out there because I figure my list is gonna be the same as both of yours. I'm just trying to throw names
Yeah.
out there of people that you're not gonna necessarily think.
Yeah.
That's fair. No, I'll give all love to Harden, but he hasn't done quite like he's had game 1 and 4.
Yeah, but two game
Okay.
two game winners in games that he really
Yeah.
backpacked the team is difficult to argue with.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's top 5 though, but he's like 6.
I would,
Would,
no, I
would
would agree with
Jamal
you.
Murray
Yeah.
possibly be in there too? I feel like he's had a very underrated playoff run
He's in the
too.
conversation for
Yeah,
sure.
in the
He has to be.
conversation. Yeah.
In the conversation.
I think there's a
6 or 7, I think.
maybe not really as much of an argument, but for Brunson as well.
Maybe. It's
Maybe not
tough.
as
There's
much
a
as
lot
Jamal
of-
Murray, but
yeah.
there's a lot of really good players.
It's
There's
tough.
a lot
It's
of
tough
really,
when it's
really
not
good players left.
resulting in wins too. I feel like that puts a blanket
Yeah.
over it in a sense in terms of trying to argue for
Mhm.
him.
For sure. Gabe Vincent's up there too. You know, you got a couple guys that you can really say.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're gonna cut this episode.
One
You know,
50-point
we're running out of
50-point
time.
game from
We
Gabe
got Gabe
Vincent.
Vincent.
I'm sorry, I'm
let's
sorry,
just let's
I'm sorry,
like
I'm
guys
sorry.
end the
We're
episode.
approaching 50. We're
sorry.
approaching 50
Oh
minutes
my
for 50 points from Gabe Vincent.
Is that a prediction for is that a prediction
Yes.
for when
No, it's
the day
not a prediction. It's a statement.
today this podcast comes out? You will see at 7:30 today. Gabe Vincent's gonna score 50 points in an NBA
Guys,
game. That is 5-0.
guys.
Write it on the whiteboard, Pavon. we
You
don't
know,
have a
guys,
Foster
I'm
here.
so sick of these people. We'll wrap it up for today. We'll pass the ball out to you guys. Um, you know, make sure to keep liking, commenting, and subscribing. Keep showing us love on socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We really love you guys, and I hope you guys love us too. But yeah, really love you guys, man. Peace.
All right.